Mike? That seems like a good way to end this video. Let's just go with that.
I am the master of disguise. Ow. Oh.
The Blair Witch Project is a found-footage style horror movie, one of the first of its kind. The movie's popularity spawned the entire genre as we know it today. Movies such as Paranormal Activity and Cloverfield, and popular online series such as The Marble Hornets are all inspired by the Blair Witch Project. But how did this genre begin? What is the Blair Witch Project? Let's dive in and see what this shit show has to offer. One thing you'll very quickly grow to notice in this movie is that the entire film is made with hand cams, which makes a lot of sense considering it's from the perspective of college students making an amateur documentary. That being said, they got this aspect right. It makes sense and is an understandable artistic choice. But this is quite distracting at the same time due to the lack of camera quality. Every frame in this movie contains the optional math quiz of how many pixels can you count on this screen? For being a movie made in 1999, they definitely could have used better quality cameras, while still being able to represent the theme they were going for. But little things like that aside, let's get to the meat of the matter.
Did someone say meat? Does it mean a collab?
No, in what universe would meat mean collab?
This one.
There are three main characters in the film: Heather, Mike, and Josh.
Heather is the lead role, as she is the student in charge of making the documentary, and leading the investigation into the woods.
Mike is a friend of Josh, who they somehow coaxed into joining them. Probably for the reason that Mike thought he could get a couple of steamy tent minutes with the single lady. All the single ladies. All the single ladies. Put your hands up.
And last but not least is Josh, who is basically WereWING if he let himself go. He has a spicy girlfriend, though seems to have a keen eye for camera shots of Heather's tush, for no apparent reason.
None of these characters are one-dimensional. They're just three sides of the same asshole. As for the rest of the characters this movie provides us with, they're only random townspeople, solely for the sake of exposition. An old guy tells us something about the thing, and then an old lady tells us something about the thing, and then a single mom and her toddler tell us something about the thing. And wouldn't you know, a couple of fishing buddies also happen to tell us something about the thing. And after they tell us the thing, you never see him again. I guess it's so they can properly build out the world in the film, and since the main characters are going to be venturing off, it's understandable why we don't see them again. So they do serve their purpose.
And finally, there's the Blair Witch herself. We'll get into more details later, but let's just say, if the words of the townspeople have any merit, she'll be a freaking mess to see. Very first thing that this movie tells you is that the footage you're about to see was recovered somehow. We are not told by who or even how they managed to find it. This is very important, remember it. Please.
One of the very important storytelling elements they use in this film are the different cameras. One's in black and white, while the other's in color. The black and white camera is often used for segments that are meant to be put in the documentary the students are making. The color camera is for their behind the scenes and personal enjoyment.
Our characters set out on their quest to find out more about this urban myth known as the Blair Witch. After a montage of them all getting ready to set out, they enter the town, where they talk with various civilians and get all the info they need to understand what they're going up against. This lady's toddler does not like the idea of dead people in the woods, but it's cool, young child, because it's definitely just rumors, right?
No! Really?
So off we go. We have our info, we know that the witch can float or something like that, because a crazy Bible thump lady said so. Which we can totally get that she's crazy because she reads the Bible. What a wacko! What an all-around nutjob! Who in their fucking mind reads a book about the religion that they associate themselves with. You sick fuck. You think we read our Bibles? You must be out of your goddamn mind. I don't read my Bible. I inhale Jesus through a drinking straw. That's how I get my salvation.
Amen. So here we see a couple of guys fishing in water. That really does not seem deep enough to contain a lot of fish, but you do you guys.
And do each other, because you two are adorable. And it's totally not strange that these two old guys look like Joey and me in the next 50 years. Yeah. Here's the point where I think it would be good to mention that the three main characters seem to be assholes towards the majority of people they ask questions to on the street. Hey there, pussy lips. Have you heard of the Blair Witch? More like Blair Bitch, because I'm gonna ride that shit like it's your mama. Not only are they assholes to the other people they come across, but they're complete dicks towards each other, which is very important later.
This is also a good time to talk about the great idea behind having two separate cameras. You can, for the most part, tell which character is filming at what time. Sometimes, though, they switch who is holding the camera so frantically that it doesn't even really matter.
Hey look, she couldn't remember her lines for this part, so they made her just read the script. Wow, talk about lazy editing. That's a good joke!
What they found was a desecration of humanity at the site which trappers have often referred to as Coffin Rock.
So here's the part that makes no sense. This section of the movie has honest-to-God editing in it, which makes zero sense. Where did they have time to edit this footage and put her voiceover from the one scene into the scenery shot that she films separately? I don't see her carrying around a 1999 laptop in her camping pouch.
And not to mention, all the footage is found footage. For a reason. It's untampered, unedited. Camera footage from an unexpected victim who has gone missing. That takes away from the idea of it being a found footage film whatsoever.
In the torso of each man, the intestines had been torn out crudely.
Ah, yes, I remember my first intestine-strung-out orgy in the woods. What a time to be alive. Or dead. You haven't truly lived until your organs have commingled with the intestines of another man. I mean, someone's probably into that. Totally, definitely not me. She shows her watch, so that you can try and see what time it is. But the reflection of the light and the quickness of her moving her hand back away makes the action completely worthless. Not to mention, she literally says the time right before doing it, thus making this whole shot a waste of time. Haha! Get it? It's wordplay! Laugh! It's comedy!
Well, I don't have a tent for 3 people, you know, I'm not used to... I'm not usually traveling with 2 men, if you know what I'm saying.
No, that's because you usually travel with 5 guys. And their burgers and fries. God, the STDs are unbelievable, but the food is to die for. Can we talk about Mike's patchy-ass chest hair? This is a sin. This is unbelievable, and it is a sin. Is crucifixion still legal? Because damn!
Is that the Blair Witch? No. I think it's Heather taking a piss.
It's only at this point in the movie where you finally find out that Heather's name is Heather. Nowhere previously is it mentioned that this is her name, but now you know, you know?
This is a shot of Josh watching Heather take a piss. For literally no fucking reason whatsoever. Because yeah, we need that in this movie, thanks.
So nobody believes that Heather knows where she's going, but she decides to go off the beaten path they have marked on their map, just so that she can take a shortcut and act all smart about it. This is where we realize that she very obviously has no idea that the ghost story has any merit in it, in this universe, because she is purposely taking the way that would be considered the least safe, and she is going off the path and ignoring the very reason they brought a map in the first place. We are roughly 25 minutes in, and the ring is already affecting Frodo.
Why the fuck did this Samwise Gamgee-looking motherfucker decide to say yes to this 3-day-long hiking trip in the haunted woods if he knew that he would not trust Heather and Josh and their judgment in the situation? He is already freaking out practically at nothing, and so far, Heather has not led them astray. Why the freakout?
Think of the joy of being in a really good film.
Apparently Heather has not watched The Blair Witch Project.
Of course they act as though they didn't see anything until it falls into the camera's view. Because that makes a load of sense. It's not like once you turn on a camera, you have your eyes still. No, you fuse your eyes with the camera lens and can only see what it sees. That makes perfect sense, and should totally always continue being a trope of these kinds of movies. I love it.
Flames are licking you like the devil there, Josh.
Josh enjoys being licked. Confirmed. The main characters of this film just slept in or near an old abandoned cemetery. Did they not think for even 1 second that this could be a bad idea? You don't have to believe in the supernatural to be cautious about it. Just because you don't believe it exists doesn't mean that taking chances is any smarter of an idea.
Hello?
Do not shout hello when you are in a horror movie. Somehow they always mess this up. Horror movie directors should know by now that this trope is fucking garbage.
I ain't going down there.
Why not?
Because I'm not. I don't hear shit.
Because you're fucking scared.
Because I don't hear anything anymore.
Because you're fucking scared. You could not deny hearing it.
Mike is in denial because he supposedly did not hear the crackling noises the night before. This seems kind of strange considering the fact that even the camera was able to pick up the noises very loudly. Not to mention that both Heather and Josh can hear it too, and were obviously scared by it.
And come out here and mess with us, then they gotta have something wrong with them, and I'm not gonna play with that.
Well, how do we know it was people?
Well, even if it wasn't, I'm not gonna play with that either.
Mike seems to be the only one with any actual logic here, since he seems to not want anything to do with the witch herself, or anything spooky whatsoever. Meanwhile, Heather and Josh are like, whoop-de-fucking-do, I'ma stick my dick in the ghost. That's how dedicated I am to fucking with the supernatural.
They're very wet.
Heather is very wet. For some reason, Josh and Mike both do not believe that Heather knows the way back to their car, even though she's been phenomenal about directions this whole time.
She even says it'll take 2 hours to get back, but within 15 minutes the boys are already losing their shit.
Look, I'm not saying for certain.
We're not camping here.
Maybe we're near the car. Maybe we're near the car.
That's the idea, Mike. Just shout all your feelings into the woods, where the thing you are scared of can hear you and find you. Because you're literally shouting at it at the top of your lungs.
Why are you not using the night camera at night? That seems a bit counterproductive, especially considering all you can see is the goddamn blackness of my soul.
Heather's shivering in this scene is more like full-body convulsions or seizures, given how dramatic her shivering is on the camera view.
Maybe part of the reason is because she isn't wearing any pants. What the fuck, Heather?
Oh, fuck.
How about rather than shouting and luring it to your location, you stay quiet inside the tent together, where you won't be cold, and most likely you'll be safer than you would be if you're all separated in the goddamn woods. Just a thought.
It could be deer, I guess. I don't fucking think it's deer though, man.
Why does the witch make footsteps sounds when we were told earlier that she floats? This is a bad case of not paying attention to your own continuity. Gosh darn you.
Hey guys, what's your favorite color? Well, ignore all that shit because this movie's all black. That's the only color. That's it, nothing else. Oh, you thought you needed more? No, fuck off with your blues and your pinks. We got black over here. What, red's the color of your favorite flavor of lollipop? Fuck that. Black's the color of tar and the emptiness of my soul. And oil. Oil. We need more oil. What movie is that from?
Woke up this morning, just like 2 seconds ago, and there are piles of rocks outside of our tent.
So, 3 piles of stones that are obviously made to look like the graves from a while back appear outside your tent. And all you guys can do is argue about whether they were there last night. But in all honesty, this scene is really good symbolism. It symbolized that they are all trapped and will all die out here. This is the point from which the Blair Witch has got them. They're her toys.
So now they're all arguing about getting back to the car. So why don't they just do that instead of shouting at each other and causing a ruckus? But oh wait, what's this? Your map is gone? And now you're gonna shout more? But oh hey, since the map is gone, why not take this time to blame everything on Heather a little bit more? Because that's fair and reasonable, because she's totally not the only character who's been getting shit on by the others this whole movie so far.
Mike and Josh even claim that they know exactly what they were signing up for at the start of it. So how come they can't just go to the same direction as they were going to yesterday?
Oh no, can't you see it's driving us apart on purpose so that we won't be all together, and then it can pick us off one at a time because we're all stronger as a team, just like the plot in every movie that has a group of main cast against a single entity of a supernatural origin? Or like, I don't know, fucking My Little Pony?
That way.
Dude, we're in the middle of the fucking woods!
In Canada, in America, in most other first world countries, you could pretty much walk in any straight direction in the woods and find some way to get out super easily. It's not like the forests are as huge as they used to be, and not to mention, there are a lot of ways to tell which is a good direction to go. For example, the sun is the world's biggest compass, and the main characters are all ignoring it, as though it doesn't exist.
Heather even brought a wilderness survival book with her on this trip, which she could very easily find some tips from, or if she even thought for a couple minutes about a way to solve the problem, that could work too. I didn't need a survival guide to think about the idea of using the sun, so why is it so difficult for these college students to understand?
Heather is complaining about how big her pack is, but she literally is carrying 5 large books that she never uses in this whole movie, that are completely useless. Really?
Come on, seriously, if you have the map, I just want to know that you have it. That will just make me happy just to know that you have it.
Heather.
If I know that you have it and I can at least see it, I will feel much better.
You know what? I kicked the... I'm sorry, it's fucked up. It's fucked up, but I kicked that fucking map into the creek yesterday. It was useless. I kicked that fucker into the creek.
I fucking hope he's kidding.
Wow! Mike. Holy shit.
I really fucking hope he's
Mike, are you
kidding.
kidding?
And this is where we find out that Mike booted the map into the river because of reasons. He's acting like it's some big joke, but he does not understand how useful a map is in this scenario, simply because he himself don't understand what it meant earlier in the movie.
Like, if he accidentally dropped the map in the lake and then didn't fess up about it until now, that's kind of understandable. But this bitch, he kicked it into the river on purpose. His reason for doing so is because he personally thinks the map is useless. I want to repeat, this is not an accident. He set out to destroy something that was valuable to them all getting home and safe, because he didn't know how to read a map himself. And then he has the gall to say that he's sorry. He lost the privilege of being sorry the moment he booted that shit down the river. But it's okay, because at least he decided to keep the compass, so I guess we're all good with him now. Was he dropped on his head as a child?
Probably.
Probably.
Most likely. There's no other way you can spin it.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed.
100% you should drop your children.
They come across symbols made of sticks, hanging in the trees. These symbols are obviously in the shape of people. Makes a lot of sense. This is in relation to the people that hung in the trees with their guts everywhere. How come this is the only continuity they get right?
We should even turn that light off, too.
Alright.
Oh yes, it's a great idea to not have any form of heat or light while you're in the dark, so that you can't see, and also you freeze to death. Good plan.
Hurry up!
I'm coming! My boots aren't laced!
Oh my god, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
Yes, let's run around and scream into the night that you don't know what the fuck's going on, and shouting what the fuck is that repeatedly, when you're literally showing the camera nothing. The audience can see nothing, and you're trying to get us to believe that there is something chasing you. Something that has been described previously as a glowing white light or a floating dead girl in a dress. But no, let's not show what's chasing us, because that would imply that we know how to make a horror movie. Seriously, this movie is 4/5 of the way complete, and we have not even seen a single glimpse of the creature or spirit that's stalking us. Well, hopefully that'll change soon.
They say that they heard screaming in the woods while they were running away, and that they also heard a baby laughing or something like that. You can't hear any of these things during the running segment. Nothing at all.
They spilled all my fucking water.
It looks like slime, man.
Josh is covered in a goo, supposedly from the witch. So, the witch apparently leaks ectoplasm. It's good to know, but why was this not a factor earlier? Should there not have been this goo on the graves that appeared outside their tent? Or on the stick symbols that were hanging in the trees? It only makes sense.
No, Mike, it's not the same log. It's not the same log, Mike.
Same log.
Look, it's not.
It is. Open your eyes.
It's not the same log. It's not the same log.
So, now it is confirmed that they are trapped in a looping forest because they walked so far south that they ended up at the exact same spot twice. This would be interesting if they elaborated on it at all.
Don't these kids know they wouldn't have any problems with the Blair Witch if they just dab on the haters? Fidget spinner.
I want to make movies, Heather. Isn't that what we're here to do? Let's make some movies. Okay, here's your motivation. You're lost, you're angry in the woods, and no one here is here to help you. There's a fucking witch and she keeps leaving shit outside your door. There's no one here to help you. She left little trinkets, you fucking took one of them. She ran after us, there's no one here to help you. We walked for 15 hours today. We ended up in the same place. There's no one here to help you. That's your motivation. That's your motivation.
Just please stop yelling at me, please.
I'm sorry, man. Chill. It's all right. I'm sorry.
So, they've been tormenting Heather for quite a while now, and so Josh decides now is a good time to apologize, so maybe he can coax out one last sympathy blowjob before he inevitably bites the dust. And speaking of which, goodbye, Josh. That's right, folks, that bitch has left the building. If they can't even find the car, how in the fuck do they expect to find Josh?
Which wicked witch was worse, the wicked witch of the east or the wicked witch of the west?
The wicked witch of the west was the bad one.
In trying to find a new way to walk to try and escape, they decide to reference the Wizard of Oz, where Mike says they should go west because the Wicked Witch of the West has that in her name.
Then this motherfucker has the audacity to say that he doesn't remember if the Wicked Witch of the West was a villain or if she was a good guy. The Wicked Witch of the West. Boy, seriously? It's in her fucking name.
Was he dropped on his head as a child?
This scene of Mike rocking back and forth is really fucking funny for some reason, and I have no clue why. Maybe it's the fact that he looks so goddamn happy.
So this bundle of sticks appears outside the tent, and Heather wants to look at it. So she shows the camera what's inside, and good luck being able to tell what the heck this is, because she is shaking the camera so much. Is it organs? Is it just blood? It legit looks like a strawberry that was just too juicy. I cannot tell what this is supposed to be, but we're meant to assume is some part of Josh. Good riddance.
We'll get to the last 5 minutes of the film shortly, but first... Here's the problem. There aren't any effects in this movie, even though even the smallest amount of practical effects could have sold the monster a lot more. As the movie stands to this point, you don't see it. At all, ever. Not a glimpse or anything.
The only borderline practical effects are the remains of Josh that you see in the bundle of sticks. Besides that, nothing. It's rather upsetting that they didn't put a little more effort into selling that the monster was actually there. The scare tactics in this movie can be boiled down into two things. The main character screaming loudly that something is there. Oh my god, and the other is that it's dark a lot, so you can't see. The problem is that neither of these are scary whatsoever. There's no atmosphere or tension. There's no need for a horror label to be slapped onto this movie because it is in no way scary.
Anybody who manages to get scared by this movie obviously has no sense of what real tension is. You can't say that there's something there and then just never show it. Just have a couple people yelling repeatedly that it's totally there, even though it's very obvious that the production of this movie was to have a trio of assholes running around in the dark woods and screaming about things that don't exist. Now you want to see some really bad shit? Here's the ending. So Mike and Heather find a house. They think, oh, maybe Josh is inside. So they go into the house, and they walk upstairs, and Mike's like, hey, I think I hear him downstairs, and so then they go downstairs. And then Mike drops his camera. And then Heather goes down and sees Mike, and he's standing in a corner, and then she drops her camera, and, yeah, roll credits. That's fucking it. That's actually the ending. Nothing more, just credits and logos and the end. And you never see the antagonist. You never feel scared, there's no tension whatsoever, and all you get in the end is one dead asshole, and two assholes that couldn't keep a firm grip on their film equipment. That's what this movie leaves you with. It leaves you with an empty spot, a lack of fulfillment, and most importantly, a wasted hour and 20 minutes of your life that you will never get back. If you're into watching people mindlessly yell at each other in the woods, then fine, go ahead and watch this shit.
But if you're in the mood for something with substance, burning this movie in a fire will give you so much more than actually watching it.
You know, rather than watch this movie, I could have gotten another 6 shrines in Zelda Breath of the Wild, or I could have played through the entirety of Phineas and Ferb Journey to the Third Dimension on the PlayStation 3, or hell, I could have bought a whole package of hot dogs. I could have cooked that whole package of hot dogs, eaten every single hot dog, thrown up all over myself.
And me.
And you, especially you. And I would have enjoyed it more than watching this fucking movie.
Yeah.
0 out of 10.
2 middle fingers for me.
0. 0 out of 10. 11 out of 10. You know why 11 out of 10? Because 2 middle fingers looks like it looks like an 11. And this is my review, and my channel's called WereWING 11. That's WereWING with a big fuck you at the end. Oh, but what's this I hear in the distance? The Blair Witch 2? The Book of Shadows?
No!
Can't wait to watch that shit show!
I need my holy water.
This video is brought to you by my lack of a will to live. Subscribe now to make me want to live longer. Jesus, that's dark. This video is brought to you by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. You can shove them up your nose, but they don't taste like cocaine. This video is brought to you by Adderall. If you can crush it, you can snort it. Hey, you think I'd buy some Honey Nut Cheerios from the supermarket just so that I can eat Honey Nut Cheerios? Nah, I lace them with heroin.
Oh,
Just take me now, Lord.